So I invite you all, as usual, to start our warm-up. This will take a few minutes, and then we'll get into whatever you all want to talk about. So I invite you, as always, to just close your eyes, and we're going to just spend the next half a minute or so just on purpose, paying attention to, taking note of the breaths we are receiving. Utilizing this as a means of becoming more present. If we think in terms of receiving breath, then we have to wonder, well, where is it coming from? Which moves us into the whole spiritual being part of what we're doing here. And we start to just create some coherence, some movement of energy that we notice more connects us to one another, regardless of where our physical bodies are on the planet. Funny how that works, huh? So this evening's warm-up is really a brief discussion of the concept that we call take responsibility. Take responsibility. Oftentimes, I'm in a position to list the 15 concepts that we work with, and I find myself going through them, and the only one that I stop and make a commentary about is this one. And I tend to say, as I'm listing them all, and I get to take responsibility, parenthetically, nobody's favorite. And I know from the work I do that it's not so much that we struggle to practice this concept as much, I think, as it is that we don't fully understand it. Now, words don't really teach, experience does, so whatever words I can offer up right now and will offer up as regards to, as it pertains to this concept, is really just reminder and not the whole ball of wax. But let's see what we can say about this concept. And the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about taking responsibility here in spiritual workout world is that we're not talking about being responsible people. This isn't about showing up for work on time, fulfilling a promise to your kid, or that type of activity. Being responsible for the checkbook, being responsible for attending the meeting. I'm going to assume that most of us are responsible people in that way already. What take responsibility means here in spiritual workout world is being responsible to the being part of the human beings we are. In other words, asking, as we do here, well, what does the situation, circumstance, problem, challenge look like from the perspective of the being part of the human being that I am? Again, that's all we're doing here in general. And it's also an intention to be responsible to one's soul, to that higher purpose and deeper meaning that we can experience when we are willing to take responsibility. So what does it mean? It means I'm responsible for whatever shows up in my life. That doesn't mean that I did anything. It does mean that I'm here on purpose for a purpose. So another concept comes in. I'm here for a reason. I am quote unquote creating my own reality, whether I'm doing it consciously or otherwise. So in that sense, I am responsible. Now, the first place many of us go when we start to think about this concept is right into shame and right into guilt. I did something wrong. I'm a bad person, which of course is not what we're talking about here. So you can readily say, it's not my fault, it's just my responsibility. That gets us to neutral. That gets us to not being a victim of anything. That gets us to a place where we can then respond versus react to what's happening. It also has to do with being present and accepting everything as it is without judgment. So taking responsibility means I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. I'm always in the right place at the right time. Nobody is doing anything to me. I'm responsible. Now, from this place, where it gets really, really juicy, is that the degree to which we are willing to take responsibility, and let's just pick something kind of big, you know, let's say there's somebody has lost their job, been let go, whether for downsizing purposes or they were just doing a bad job. They've lost their job, quote unquote. So the conscious person, the spiritual being having a human experience in that situation, even if they thought it was unfair, the way to take responsibility or the willingness just says, wow, well, that's interesting. I've created a situation now where the job that I thought I had and the security that I thought I had is gone. That is a completely different way of phrasing it than my boss screwed me over. He's always been out to get me, and now I'm out on the street and it's his fault. So again, I'm either responsible for what's going on in my life or I'm blaming somebody else. So what I started to say earlier, that is that the degree to which we are willing to take responsibility, I've created a situation where my security now is not what I thought it was, is the degree to which we also become empowered, gaining power from the guts of who we are, from the being part of the human being, the human beings that we are, right? So in that situation, willing to take responsibility empowers the person to then make the best choices and decisions about what to do next. Wow, here I am in a situation where my security is suddenly in question. I am so pissed about this. Okay, why am I pissed about this? Oh, well, you know what? Because this has been an issue my whole life. I've always struggled with creating financial security for myself. And I've held on to this job. And if I really think about it, I never really liked the job, but I sure liked the security it provided. And even though I felt like that I had sort of conquered that issue, it's clear and obvious now that I couldn't be in this situation where I'm feeling so threatened by a lack of security without an active belief that my security is not secure. So if I am willing to take responsibility in this one example, I'm not blaming anybody for anything. One of the things I can do that absolutely empowers me is look back at the belief I have or the set of beliefs I have that create that experience, right? Well, now I'm in the driver's seat. I'm not thinking 1 second about the boss or the job that I never really liked that much to begin with. I'm thinking about what can I do? And I'm already doing it in this moment. I am empowered to do it in this moment. What can I do? What am I doing to make sure that my financial security is more stable in the future and that I don't ever wind up in this situation again? Well, now, not only do I need to tend to the beliefs that create the situation, but now I can also, with that power from that place of centeredness, from the being part of the human being I am, then I can set a shiny, clear intention for what financial security looks like to me. And using information of experiences from the past and building upon that and creating a world where getting fired from a job is not going to knock me off of that at all. So the resistance that we might feel to taking responsibility might have to do with shame and guilt. So just cross that off your list. You didn't do anything wrong. You're just where you're supposed to be. Spiritual being, human experience. There are no accidents, right? And then going a little bit further, saying, okay, I'm responsible. I get it. I'm here. Now I can fully empower myself to make the smartest and wisest choices for me from this place of empowerment versus a place of disempowerment where I'm blaming everybody and everything else. So that's all I want to say about that tonight. I think it's probably enough. I invite you to take a nice deep cleansing breath with me. Hold on to the good stuff, let go of the bad stuff. And come on back and let's work out some